So in a lot of people's minds, there's a lot riding on this Flash movie being so great and doing so well because it's going to get rid of the DCEU. It's going to reset the Snyderverse. It's going to reset the whole continuity of the DC universe as we know. Or is it not really based on a recent interview with THR? So yo, what is good YouTube? Warstu here. If you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the videos. Check us out on Instagram at Warstu. Check us out on Twitter at WarstuG, aka Warstu. So let's get into this article. Well, it's a little segment. So the question was, I know DC tried to shed the label several years ago, but is the term DCEU still used internally inside Warner Brothers? Yes, it is. It is sometimes. Yes, I think there's definitely an I. I got a lot more of it after the movie was made, frankly, because they're really just trying to make everything fit together much better. And I know a lot of it because of working on Peacemaker, which is the HBO Max series, and doing that, which is definitely connected to the Suicide Squad, and it ends up being connected to other DC properties. So yeah, I think that's more than ever. There's sort of an eye to connect stuff a little bit more, but it's also willing to take those properties like the Joker and make them standalone DC properties. So I think there's a good balance. So these super duper fake Twitter websites where people say the Flash movie is going to erase the Snyderverse, it's going to erase the DCEU, they're factually incorrect because they can't, for the simple fact Jason Momoa was casted by Snyder, he's moving forward. Ben Affleck's in the Flash, moving forward. Ezra Miller, Flash, moving forward. We can keep going on and going on. And even recently, Ray Fisher said that he could return at some point. So I think we need to get rid of this storyline that the Flash is going to reboot the entire DCEU. It can't really. It can slightly change the adaptations of certain characters, but the DCEU is not going to go anywhere based on these comments. It can't really, because they'd have to completely change the entirety of everything that's been built upon. Yes, they're probably not going to go in the same direction as the Snyderverse. But as we all know, the plan for the Snyderverse was a 5-part arc. It was going to end essentially with Batman dying, essentially, and that would have been it. But we know that Discovery, and if that goes through, the merger, that's most likely going to be finished on HBO Max with Justice League Part 2 and 3 and the Batfleck series. So that could still happen. It's almost like they don't understand the multiverse. Well, we know Warner Bros. Don't understand the multiverse because they didn't understand the Flash scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League movie. So a lot of people going, yeah, the Flash movie is going to introduce the multiverse. Is it though? Is it though? No, because this Zack Snyder's Justice League is canon regardless to what anyone says. It's got to be canon. Why? Well, because Ezra Miller the Flash crossover with Grant Gustin the Flash in their Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover. So if Grant Gustin comes over and the Flash, Barry Allen, Ezra Miller remembers seeing the Flash, Grant Gustin, that would have been the multiverse. So I do find it a bit strange how Warner Bros. Himself, if the leak is real, have kind of wiped out the Justice League Snyder cut and Justice League Whedon cut off the complete canon. It's almost like they don't understand what the multiverse is. So there's so much talk online about the DCEU being reset, the Snyderverse being reset. Now, don't get me wrong, the Flashpoint Paradox is the perfect time to reset everything, but they can't, because if you're going to reset everything, then theoretically speaking, every character's mind would have to be wiped. They'd have to act completely different. They'd have to get recasted or recast and all that good stuff. So I do find it very interesting the way James Gunn said things will connect. As we know, Shazam 1, Shazam 2 connects to Man of Steel, which connects back to Snyderverse, which also connects to the Black Adam movie. So they've got to connect. As we know, the Batman movie is going to be on Earth 2, allegedly, rumoredly. So that would be a standalone thing. But they could bring it over to the main Earth. We don't actually know if it's on Earth 2. It's just what a lot of people seem to say, so to speak. So whether or not they do restore the Snyderverse will always be there because the DCEU is there, and that started with Zack's vision and will change to whatever Walter Hamada and Toby Emmerich want. I know everyone dislikes Walter Hamada, but he's the head of DC Films, guys, so he's not going anywhere anytime soon-ish. So he is overlooking everything. He is the EP on the Flash movie and on the Black Adam movie. So everyone seems to think that the Black Adam movie is going to happen in the Black Adam verse or the Snyderverse. Well, realistically, it'll be the Shazam verse, which, because of BVS merchandise, because a Henry Cavill stunt double literally walked in, that is part of the Snyder. And if Henry Cavill actually does cameo in Black Adam or Shazam 2, that solidifies even more that it's got to be the DCEU Snyderverse in some variation, in some variance. films, just in a different way, if that makes any sense. So I get a lot of questions about, yo, what's happening with Snyderverse? When's Justice League 2 coming? But for now, let's just be happy that we're getting a Flash movie, we're getting Shazam 2, we're getting Black Adam, we're getting Aquaman, etc. And we're getting the Matt Reeves Batman, because it is a good time to be a Flash fan. Now, I made a video saying, should we be worried about DC films after the Suicide Squad flop? It did flop theatrical. Now, everyone can say, yeah, but the Suicide Squad was number 2 on HBO. Do you really believe them numbers? It took them like 3 months to actually admit how successful and how good the Zack Snyder Justice League movie was for the streaming service. So if a movie gets released theatrically, the streaming numbers don't mean anything, because they will be subsidized with the money from the streaming service. Just like they had to pay a huge payout to Godzilla versus Kong and Legendary Pictures, they had to pay a huge payout for that. So it was successful because theatrically it hit like $500 million, just under it. And then Warner Bros. Paid Legendary a bunch of money anyway on top of that. So it is interesting that I am really looking forward to DC films going forward. I got a lot of negativity on that video because I said the Suicide Squad flopped theatrically, which it did, but I also really loved the movie, which I said as well. But then Henry Cavill's Superman was supposed to be the villain of that movie in the original script. It wasn't Starro, who is more of a Justice League villain. So that would have been pretty cool if we got like an evil Superman instead of Starro. So guys, just chill with the Snyderverse stuff. I can't make Snyderverse based content because there is nothing to talk about. There is no talks going on behind the scenes. From what I understand from my inside sources, like Toby Emmerich has literally put everything that was greenlit on hold. The Batfleck stuff was literally ready to go. They had locations and all that kind of stuff, but apparently everything's on hold. So I can't make Snyderverse based stuff. As for the David Ayer Suicide Squad cut, I've been told it's still coming, but it's going to take a while, just like Zack Snyder Justice League movie took a while, but I also kept saying, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu. That'd be very much appreciated if you want to see the face behind the voice. So check it out on Twitter, WarstuG, because what happened is I changed my handle for literally 1 minute, tried to get the Warstu handle back, and then someone robbed the handle, and I can't get it back off Twitter. They won't give it back to me. So like always, guys, check it out on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll catch you in the video very soon, guys. Catch ya later.